The Battle of Otterburn, fought on August 19 or 20, 1388, was a dramatic and pivotal engagement during the Anglo-Scottish border conflicts of the late 14th century. The battle took place near the village of Otterburn in Northumberland, England, and was part of the broader struggle between England and Scotland for control and influence in the contested borderlands. This particular clash was sparked by the Scottish response to England's military pressure, with the Scots aiming to assert their strength and retaliate for earlier English incursions into their territory. The conflict began when a Scottish force, led by James Douglas, Earl of Douglas, embarked on a bold and well-planned raid into northern England. Known as the Chevauchee of 1388, this raid was a calculated move by the Scots to weaken English morale, disrupt their border defences, and pillage valuable resources. Douglas's force, estimated at around 3,000 men, split from a larger Scottish army to conduct a surprise assault on the English countryside, targeting towns and castles to provoke a reaction from English forces. Among their spoils, Douglas captured the pennon of Sir Henry Percy, nicknamed Hotspur, during a skirmish at Newcastle, an act of humiliation that further fueled English determination for revenge. The English response came swiftly. Hotspur, along with his brother Ralph Percy, gathered an army of approximately 6,000 men and pursued the Scots. Despite their superior numbers, the English were at a disadvantage as the Scots, experienced in guerrilla warfare, used their intimate knowledge of the terrain to evade and outmaneuver their pursuers. The Scots established a fortified camp near Otterburn, close to a small castle, intending to rest and regroup before continuing their campaign. On the night of the battle, the English forces launched a surprise assault on the Scottish camp. They hoped to catch the Scots off guard, relying on their numerical superiority to overwhelm them quickly. However, the Scots were well prepared and had deliberately chosen the site for its defensibility. As the English advanced, the Scots counterattacked with precision and ferocity. The battle unfolded under the cover of darkness, creating a chaotic and terrifying scene illuminated only by the moonlight and the distant glow of burning villages. The fighting was intense and closely contested. James Douglas led his men with remarkable bravery, but he was struck down in the midst of the battle, mortally wounded by an English lance. His death could have demoralized the Scottish forces, but instead, it spurred them to fight even harder. The Scots rallied around the cry of vengeance for their fallen leader, and their disciplined counterattacks began to turn the tide of the battle. Meanwhile, the English, hampered by confusion and the unfamiliar terrain, found themselves increasingly disorganized. Eventually, the Scots succeeded in capturing Hotspur and his brother Ralph Percy, a significant blow to English morale. With their leaders captured and their forces in disarray, the English army was forced to retreat. The Scots emerged victorious, having inflicted heavy casualties on their opponents despite being heavily outnumbered. The battle marked one of the most notable examples of a smaller, well-led force triumphing over a larger adversary through superior tactics and resilience. The victory at Otterburn had both immediate and long-term implications. In the short term, it boosted Scottish morale and reaffirmed their ability to defend their borders against English aggression. For the English, the defeat was a humiliating setback that underscored the vulnerability of their northern territories. Over time, the battle became legendary, celebrated in border ballads such as the Battle of Otterburn and the Ballad of Chevy Chase, which immortalized the heroism and tragedy of the event. Though not a decisive strategic turning point, the battle exemplified the fierce rivalry and enduring animosities between England and Scotland during the medieval period. It remains a symbol of the resilience and determination of the Scottish people in the face of adversity.